Live. We are going live. We are live. Good morning out there. It's 5 a.m. Mester Scrum, and it's 6 o'clock, or an hour later than normal. The classes are all fucked up. Hope everybody's doing well today. Today's, I guess, Tuesday. 5 a.m. Mester Scrum. We talk about Scrum and Agile, and every once in a while we get a visitor, but he's over there playing video games right now. He gets up early so he can play video games before his sister gets up. He's got it all figured out. Anyway, just go talk about Agile and Scrum, and please like and subscribe our channel and share with your friends. I did get a question last night. I still haven't got to talk about PI planning, and I have to get back to the person. I'll send her an email with the information, and then maybe we'll do an episode tomorrow about it. Anyway, so I wanted to talk about a couple things from yesterday. I want to talk about a Scrum item and practicing good Scrum habits, because otherwise it's like, we'll talk about that. And then we'll talk about bullying, because we brought up bullying yesterday because somebody, I guess, did you do a bullying thing in school, Eddie? I don't know. But he was talking about bullying. No bullying, right? Yeah. And one thing I noticed in the Agile and Scrum world, part of that is also help minimize the bullying that goes on in the IT business. And so from a leadership, there's a big trend out there in anti-bullying activities for kids. Adults can get bullied too, especially in the IT business. There's a lot of people out there that says, you got to do this. And I was watching a video the other day, somebody out on YouTube talking about certain large companies out there, none I'm associated with, but ones out in California, and how they push people and bully people to get stuff done and got to get features done and just, don't want them to go anywhere. It's just stay there all the time. And, we got to make sure that our leaders, managers aren't bullies to the IT people. And one of the things about a Scrum Master, your job is to protect everybody from those bullies out there that said, I want this, I want it now. You got to give it to me or I'll take your job, and never say it, but they imply it, right? That if you don't do the feature they want or make it, and if you don't address it now, you're going to get in trouble. Then all these people come down on you. I mean, that is a form of bullying. I don't know why they don't see it, but I've seen it in a lot of places where managers are really on top of each other to get stuff done. And the idea behind Agile and Scrum is that we wanted to get away from that. We wanted to get just building good quality work, enjoying what we do, and crafting some things. And I look at a lot of the industry, and there's a lot of bullies out there, because he made me think about it yesterday when he brought up the no bullying thing, which was totally out of the blue. But then I saw a couple of videos on YouTube the other day talking about some IT people talking about the industry, and I'm like, yeah, there's a lot of bullies out there. And the one thing the Scrum Master does is like, hey, it's a tough job, right? It ain't an easy job. And there's times when you have to be that person to keep the bullies away from the team, right? And I feel sorry for a lot of Scrum Masters who are put in those positions in those organizations that think that they just need to harp on people to get stuff done, which is really not the way we want to work, right? It demoralizes the team, shuts them down. But we really, as leaders, need to check for that bullying. Are our leaders bullying the people working on your staff? Are you a bully, or are you a leader? Do you think being a leader is someone who gets everybody to do what you tell them to, and they just do it and they produce? They're going to produce junk. It's going to be full of bugs. They're not going to care. They're going to turn over. They're going to get another job, and then you got to hire more people. Then your production rate's going down because you're training new people and they're not as efficient. They don't know the code. But if you keep getting this turnover rate, it was a good question the other day. I did an interview with the Agile coach, and he was talking about happiness, and doing a happiness grading, right? And one of the happiness grades is turnover. He's right. It's a great measure of happiness. How much are people leaving the organization? Every that is a metric that's just that's fact, right? I don't know if the visas out there will prevent that. It's really bad if you got a high turnover rate and everybody's working on a visa. That would be a sign that your organization is really having some issues, especially here in the States. But I mean, if you have a high turnover rate on your business, like people are leaving every 6 months or something, maybe there's something to it. Maybe you do have bullies in your organization. Maybe you as a leader need to take that into account, right? What's the turnover rate? Now, there's a question: are you a transition job? Like, are you working at a storefront and you're paying minimum wage or whatever? And as they grow and mature in their career, they're gonna grow out of it. I mean, it's different if people are taking jobs to promote themselves or get more pay or elevate their career. That's a different type of turnover. But if they're just turning over to go work another testing job or another development job, then you got bigger issues. But I thought the interview with the Agile coach had a very good metric for all the teams. So as a leader, you know, you should be concerned over your turnover rate, the happiness factor. I mean, it's a solid number. It's not a survey. It's not biased in any way. It's just straight turnover. How many people are leaving your organization? How do you compare to the rest of the organization? So, I would advise people from a leadership perspective, start measuring your turnover rate. It's a great metric. Eddie, shaking the table. So if it's a little shaky, it's Eddie. He's over there. Okay, so that's a leadership thing. So my recommendation for my leadership, start taking a metric of turnover rate in your organization. And you should get a report out of that all the time, like every month. What's your sustainment rate? How long do they stay? How often are you finding a new job? Now, you have to be careful because that could be influenced by new hires, right? I will say when I first started working where I was, that our turnover rate was like for new hires for engineers was 50%. Well, it was every year or every 5 years. Was it every 5 years? Every couple of years, it was like 50%, and that was right. It's like, so first year you'll lose 50%, then the next year you lose another 50% what remains, and then it would keep on going, and until you only end up like one or two left that actually came on board as interns, and they were all gone. So by the 10th year, there wasn't, like, if you hired 5, you would lose like the first 2 years, you would lose like 2. So then you had 3, and then you would lose 1, and then you lose 1 more, and then you would have 1. It was just the way it was working. Anyway, so bullying, turnover rate, it's a great number to look at. You got to watch for the bullying and forcing people to get stuff, coming up with dates that are not achievable. And you tell them, well, you must meet that date. Well, that is a bully, right? You have said, I need to know how you can we make this date, right? It's like, how can we do it? Or is it possible? Or what is a good date? Even rather say, well, what do you all think is a good date? As a program manager of 30 years, that's how I asked the question. I never gave my teams a date, ever, in my career. Never, ever gave them a date. What I asked them was, when do you think we can get it done? And they gave me a date. That's how I was always on time on all my projects through my career, because I had the organization who was doing the work give me a date. I'll do whatever you want. You tell me what it is, I will meet it. So I had an opposite approach to how I ran my operations as a program manager for 30 years. And I had them tell me the date. I never told my experts what the date was. So anyway, so that's a leadership thing. Look for bullying, look for turnover rate. How are you asking that question? Are you telling them a date to deliver, or are you asking them for a date to deliver the product? It should be you be asking them a date. You should not tell them a date. Okay. As I think I said, it was show 71, right? This is 5 a.m. Mester Scrum. I want to talk about a little bit about a Scrum activity, Daily Scrum. And I was thinking about this again yesterday. I was just listening to the news. and they were talking about baseball, American baseball, and how the analytics of the world have. One guy made a comment about how the analytics have messed up these guys' swing. They should be batting better, being on base more, whatever they did analytics wise, or like analyzing how to do things and where to swing and how to do it and what's the probability on stuff, and it's just messed up their swing. Or if you talk about golfers, when they go golf and they start doing something wrong and they start doing it, it takes so long to get them out of that bad swing, right, when they're golfing. So I want to talk about Daily Scrum. And I was trying to do the math the other day. So I have like 3 or 4 teams. Okay, thanks, Ed. I got 4 teams that I agile coach for, right? That I directly coach. And if I did 10-day sprints, it means I have like 9. So I want to say, just to round down, because I can't make all the meetings. So I want to say I have three teams, 10 days, so it's 30 days. So in every sprint, I'm doing 30 daily scrums. So I got 30. So let's say I do 10 sprints. That's not even half a year, right? Because there's how many sprints? 26 sprints in a year, right? So 10 sprints. So I'm like just under half. So by doing 10 sprints, I'm at 300 daily scrums. So very quickly for me, I can see so many daily scrums, right? And you as a scrum master in a team or an agile coach, you get a lot. This is one area where people start doing it wrong, and then they continue wrong, and then you got to deprogram them from doing it wrong. You have to be careful, and you really want to, as a scrum master or team, you want to address the daily scrum like your very first thing, because it's the one operation you do a lot of, right? And you want to get it done right. You want to set it up, and we talked about that before. Set it up where everybody talks. The leads, if you have leads on your team versus a very homogeneous organization, leads always go last. And you as Scrum Master have to set that up, and you have to tell them, you go last, everybody else goes first. Scrum Master is the last person in the group to talk, right? It's a team meeting. You have to establish that. And then how the order you want to do it. You really want to get that done within a sprint. You want to figure out what works best on a daily scrum. And if it's not working, if you're not getting feedback from everybody, you need to fix it. Because otherwise you're going to pick up bad habits and you're going to do it like 300 times, So you're going to do it. So you do it 9 times every sprint. So within 10 sprint, you've done it 90 times, right? And if you're doing it 90 times, and you're doing it wrong, someone like me as an agile coach has to come in and try to help you deprogram that. And it's hard. And that's actually something I want to deal with a lot on some of my teams, just how they operate. And they need to get there, and I need to tell them. So as a coach, I got to be a little more firmer and say, hey, you got to let your team talk. You talk last. And they might look at me, what? Like, you talk last. Let the team talk. But as a coach, sometimes you have to be like realistic with them. It says, I love what you're doing, but you gotta get the dynamics working here, right? I wish I could just say, be a bully sometimes, say, you did better talk last, but I wouldn't want to do that. I'll come up with a way. But just the daily scrum. So just get the daily scrum right, get the order of people talking. Get people talking, right? Everyone should chime out. No one should talk for somebody else, right? Those are definitely anti-scrum. So everyone should talk. No one should talk for anybody else. It shouldn't be, oh, everything's good. No. That doesn't give us any value. What did you do? What are you going to work on? Do you need anybody's help? When are you going to get you finish your commitment for your daily commitment so your partner can take on the work, right? That interchange. Are you taking any holidays? There's a lot of holidays coming up. I know in India right now, there's a ton of holidays coming up in October. So, you need to share that information that you're not going to be around, right? So I'm really looking for these daily scrums for people saying, I'm not going to be here tomorrow or whenever because I'm doing my holidays. So that you need to get on. So talked about 2 things here on 5 a.m. Mester Scrum. Talked about bullying, How do you ask the question? Are you telling them the dates? Or are you asking for dates? It's a big difference, right? And what is your turnover rate? So those are your happiness factor, right? How are you as a leader being? Daily Scrum. Got to work on that real fast in the beginning. You got to make sure people are doing Daily Scrum correctly, and they're getting feedback on what they want to do, right? It's not a long conversation. So that's what I got for today. Happy scrumming. Enjoy your day. And thumbs up. All right. You want to say bye, Ed? You're going to yank your thing out. Bye! Thank you, Eddie. I think everybody in the world heard that. My day starts. Anyway, have an awesome day. Enjoy it. Sorry about the loud kid. See ya. Goodbye.